Welcome to Swing Trading and Coffee, YouTube's mellow corner for swing traders. My name is Anthony, and in this video, I am going to give you my technical analysis of the markets and the review of both my winning and losing trades. But before I go on, I have to let you know this content is not financial advice. It is only intended for educational purposes on swing trading. In the trading spotlight today, we have AMD, PayPal, Bitmine Immersion, BMNR, MicroStrategy, and Tesla, with its updated full self-driving 14.1 news and Model 3 release. As for me, no coffee, just ginger, because we're back again in flu season. Let's take a look at the SPY. So as I mentioned in the previous video, we were getting up really high in the channel. We did have a little bit of room to run. However, I mentioned to be cautious because we could have a wave of profit taking at any moment. And today that seemed to be what just happened. If you draw a line across here, you're going to see that we rejected off this zone 3 times. This for me was a signal to take out a hedge. So, when the market gets close to the top of the channel, I'm usually either scaling out of my swing trade positions, and if I still have a couple positions that I think could run some more, and that is the case currently, I take out a put on the SPY or the triple Qs. And if let's say we get a little pullback here to the 13 EMA or the 21 EMA, maybe even to this point of control here at 663. That for me won't be a problem because I can just take profits on the hedge and ride back up the positions that I have. Of course, the condition is that they have not stopped out. So if they haven't stopped out, I will ride them back up. And sometimes it does work out that way, but usually it's very difficult to time all this. But if you're in heavy in your swing trades, maybe taking out a hedge, that's just how I do it. Also, I want to mention, as long as we are above this 663 zone, I am very bullish on the market. So this is holding, and we still have some room to the downside. I'm not saying it has to happen, but we have to evaluate every possible scenario. Now, we could also just chop sideways for a bit and then continue up the channel again. That's perfectly possible. But right now we have to note that there is a buying frenzy and it may have ended, but we're going to find out. So looking at the SMH, I showed this to you guys yesterday. I said we broke out of the channel completely to the upside, which is really crazy. You don't see this very frequently. And I said that, if we come back to the channel, retest and then bounce, then maybe we are moving into a more aggressive growth phase for semis. But usually when this kind of thing happens, it tends to break down back into the channel. Now taking a look at NVIDIA, we did have this bull flag, which got broken out of, and we had a little bit of a fake out here. It came back down, but it went back up again. So we are bullish on Tesla because now we are forming a new structure here to the upside, almost like a new channel just developing right now. And we need to see how this plays out. Do we break out above it, or do we continue sideways or break out? And the important thing is just to watch these lines. And also we have a support area here at 185. I think this is very key on NVIDIA. So as long as we're holding this, we should continue upwards. As you can see here, we wicked 3 times, and that tells you that there are buyers sitting at this zone. So today might have been an opportunity to pick up a couple shares. However, I like to wait for a little bit of confirmation, maybe a green candle upwards, showing me that this will continue up. Taking a look at AMD, I had 2 trades on this one. The first one was down here at this green candle once we crossed above the point of control and we held. And then the second time I bought in, this was like an addition to my position, was the second candle here for confirmation. We got a pullback day, which looked like it was going to reverse. However, the OpenAI news came out and this thing went absolutely crazy. What I did is I sold the entire position somewhere around here. And the reason I didn't wait is I don't expect it to break the all-time high just one shot like that. So as we approached resistance, I closed out the position, and then I did roll over a small part of it into a higher strike and a further out date. I think that AMD has a lot of room to run, but it may take some time. And it seems that we are starting to form a new structure here in this area. I don't know if we're going to come down to fill this gap at some point, but it's something to watch out for. Now, if we form structure here in sideways, and then this is our all-time high here at 226, we break this upwards and we're in blue sky territory, this thing can start ripping. And, you know, lots of analyst upgrades dropping in these days. Not something I typically pay attention to, but it does get retail hyped up and they start buying. They follow whatever the analysts tell them. So we had estimates from 210 to 265 to 300 on this. You know, it is what it is, but I think that those price targets are based off of not just what AMD could earn in the future, but they also take a look at the technicals on the chart. So my target in the medium term is 265. If we go higher, fantastic, but I'm not trying to get too greedy with this trade. It is, for me, a swing trade, not a long-term investment. SMCI, I brought this up at least a week ago, and it was well below here, this resistance line, before we even broke out. I said, we are starting to get above the 13, 21, and 50 EMAs. And not only did we get above it at this candle, we confirmed again right above it. And then we had this breakout in the morning. It started to shoot up, and I was like, I am going to take this trade long. This is a very clean breakout, and we have a very big gap up top. So I scaled out of this one, and today I believe I have one contract remaining out of my options. And, you know, this could have worked out with either options or shares. I just prefer using options to get a little bit more leverage and using less capital. And, you know, with options, you can risk a certain amount, but you can earn multiples in return quite easily if you play it right. And of course, the opposite could happen. You could lose a lot of money very fast. So you have to know your exact entry and exit points, where you're going to scale in, where you're going to scale out. And you have to know where you're going to be wrong on the trade, because hope is not a strategy. You have to know, you know, if it comes back down below, like early on in this trade, like let's say we're here, I would say I'd be wrong if it comes below here. If it comes back below that resistance line, which got flipped into support, I would say I'm out. That is very important. You know, you don't want to lose too much. You can always move that capital into something else that will slowly bring your account amount back up. PayPal, a little bit, one of the exciting ones I spotted yesterday, and I said, I am watching this, and if we get a confirmation candle, it's very similar to what happened with SMCI. It's so weird. They are not in the same sector, but there are so many similarities. You had a gap and went to the downside. You had this resistance line, and then you broke out of it, and you came up to fill this gap. So that's SMCI, and then you come back to PayPal, same exact thing. How about that? So now when, you know, we have a this caught me off guard because I did not expect it to gap up like that, but these things happen. So I didn't really add until this thing, like, it went up and then it started to come down midday, and that's kind of when I decided, okay, we are back at possibly retesting this resistance, because you see here this this candle, it wicked upwards and it rejected. So that tells you there's like a wall here, some kind of sellers, and we could actually draw a line through it. It actually extends through to the candle on the left as well here. So you see this one here, this candle, it caused it to go up. So this acted as support on the way up. And then here, it acted as resistance. So that is why PayPal, it gapped above it. And then once it came down to it, it started to wick back up. So that was for me where I added. I'm not expecting this to go up too far. So I'm probably going to scale out aggressively as we start filling more of the gap. Likely we'll start scaling out tomorrow. And up here is the 0.618 fib. So if we measure where we are today up to that zone, about 7% remaining for this move. It could always go higher to 85. 85 for me is a long-term target, and I'll tell you why. You see this big arrow on the left, another gap, but even bigger. So I really like PayPal. It's broken out, it's filling the gap, and we have one more up here. So we'll see how this plays out. If it builds some nice structure and starts pushing into the fib level, I might hold on to a little bit longer, but I am going to take small profits as I go up. Next one here is Poet. As you can see, we have this resistance area here and we poked above it, but we didn't come back down. We held into the close above that line. So that for me tells me this thing has really good momentum. And as you can see here, it started curling the EMAs and they started fanning out. And that tells you that this is an increase in volatility and it's to the upside. So this one I opened a position on today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. As for upsides, you can see here we are at this resistance zone. This is currently what we're testing. So you can see that this resistance zone, which we went tested once, twice, and now this is the third try. It corresponds with this zone over here, which was previously support and got flipped. So once we get past this, and it's always an if we get past this, I would expect this to run up to 1033 easily. And if it has enough momentum, it may even try and tackle $12.64 up here. So this is a pretty good reward if it plays out, about 38%. And I'd probably stop out, halfway. So I'd give it maybe 16%. So 2 to 1, that would be the ratio for this trade. And next up, everybody's favorite, Tesla. This has gone up and it has formed support up top here, which is pretty good. I was expecting it to come back down for some kind of retest, and I'll show you here on the daily. We do have a gap, which never got filled. We came close to coming down to fill it, but it just didn't happen. And this was my stop. Actually, to be honest, my stop was a little bit closer here, exactly where it tapped that zone. And I had a soft stop on this, and I just wanted to watch if it would rebound really fast off the zone or if it would go through it. And what happened was that it just bounced right off midday. So I decided to hold on to it a little bit more. And it was just a starter position. And as soon as we started coming up here, and today we had good news about the new full self-driving coming out, which is, in my opinion, the biggest catalyst in the short term for Tesla. If this picks up, it's going to skyrocket shares. And I'm going to put out a Tesla video in the next 2 days for you guys. Once I have enough information about all the gossip going on behind the scenes, and I'll put that into an in-depth review of what's happening for Tesla. So currently I have a short-term call on Tesla, and I also have bought some long-term calls out into January. So we'll see how this plays. I'm going to keep you guys updated every step of the way. For this trade, I would not want to see it come down below this line. If it comes below here, I am out right away. No questions asked. BMNR. This one has been taking its sweet time, but it's eventually going to get there up to $80, I believe. As long as we are above this 53.28 zone, this point of control, it's bullish. It's only up from here. We're going to see volatility, but I think it's up to $80, but we need to see crypto hold. We broke all-time highs on Bitcoin, and it pulled back today. So we're going to have to watch and see how this unfolds. MicroStrategy. The other day, I was telling you guys that it seems that MicroStrategy is finally about to make a reversal and become bullish. It's been in a downtrend for such a long time, since July, and we finally broke out of the channel. Also, we managed to break all of these 3 EMAs, and we had a little red day up here, which I didn't think much of, and then this happened today. So to be honest with you guys, I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse on MicroStrategy, and I stopped trading it for a while because you don't know how to trade it. Bitcoin is going up, and then you ask yourself, is MicroStrategy eventually going to snap up with it? But it doesn't. But then it goes down harder when Bitcoin goes down than when it goes up. So I haven't cut this trade, but we'll see tomorrow. I'm going to make the final decision on it. The reason I didn't cut the position is because Bitcoin is still doing fairly well. All this is just a little retracement. And let's try a Fibonacci retraced here and see if it matches up or not. So here was the bottom of your move, and we're going to extend it up to the top. So yeah, we kind of hit the first target, almost. We didn't come down to the second target. It could have a deeper pullback. I mean, I have no problem with it pulling back down to this yellow line, which is the previous resistance zone here. And it would still be in an uptrend getting ready to break out. However, we've struggled so much with this, all this chop. It's about time for it to, show what it can do, or it's, or people are just going to start forgetting about it for a while. If this comes back down to the trend line, I guarantee you a lot of people are not going to be happy. However, I do have some hopes for this to continue upwards. And tomorrow, depending on how Bitcoin reacts, I'm going to make my decision on the MicroStrategy options that I picked up. Next up, we got the trade desk, TTD. This is a very interesting chart. We have 2 insane gaps here. Very interesting. What happened was we just gapped above it, and then when we came back up, rather than just work our way, just decided to jump it again. So on the way up here, we are having a little bit of resistance at the 50 EMA, which corresponds with this zone up here. However, if this breaks it tomorrow, I think this could have a colossal run up to $85. And even if it doesn't get all the way up there, just gets up to this resistance point right here, I'm happy with the trade because let's measure it. Going up here to the resistance is about 23%. That's a good trade. Whereas the stop can be quite tight here at this little support area, about 10% below. So this is a very good risk-reward ratio for me. Of course, not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy this. I'm just explaining to you how, from a technical perspective, I try and figure out the probabilities of a trade either going for me or going against me. And when you have a trade where the odds are stacked in your favor, we've had a deep correction twice to the same zone, and it's held both times here and here. And then we have these 2 gaps up here that need to be filled or should be filled. And we have another one up here. And we've had a major, just a major correction on this stock, a very long-term one. And the common sense here would be is we bounced here, we should bounce here. And that's exactly what it did. So why would I fight this and try and short it unless it fails up here? So, if it fails this zone and it comes down, then maybe we're going for an even bigger correction. But it makes sense for me that this would come up here and at least try and fill half the gap. Guys, I created this channel only a month ago as a personal experiment to give fellow traders free educational content on swing trading. We are now almost at 600 subs in about a month. That's better traction than most new financial channels get. So I want to give a shout out to you guys. And if you're not part of the community, hit the subscribe button. I put out these videos about 3 to 4 times a week, analyzing the hottest stocks and analyzing the trends in the market. If you guys like this, give me a thumbs up and I will update you again soon.